Do you remember the internet felt simpler? When you could just log on, find your little corner of the world, and just vibe out? You'd engage with those little things that you love, those hobbies, your favorite games, the niches that you were into, and just those shows and movies that spoke to you. And if you stumbled across something that you didn't enjoy, you just moved on. There was no drama, no endless debates back and forth about all of it, except for, some very special places. And no rage-inducing rabbit holes that you'd get yourself into. You just dropped in and went back to what made you happy. But somewhere along the line, that really changed. Now, it feels like we're stuck in this endless cycle of consuming content we don't even enjoy. Games that aren't made for us, movies and TV shows that just don't align with our values maybe, or just content that honestly, we just don't find entertaining, just a little boring. And yet, we keep engaging ourselves in it sometimes. And why? Why is that? Why are we doing this to ourselves? So let's rewind for a second. Back in the day, the internet was a lot more fragmented. You had your forums, your niche communities, and your carefully curated RSS feeds, if anybody knows what those still are. And if you were into, let's just say, indie horror games, you'd hang out in those spaces. If you loved obscure 80s sci-fi movies, you'd find your people and just stick with them. And if you came across something that just wasn't for you, no big deal about it. You just didn't engage with it. But what you should engage in is the subscribe button down below or over there on the new second channel that I just put out. It helps both of those channels out a lot and tells the algorithm that you want to see more. And speaking of algorithms, with the rise of algorithm-driven platforms, it feels like we're constantly being pushed into these weird, masochistic cycles of consumption. We watch movies that we'll just hate so we can rant about them to our friends or maybe online later. We play these games that aren't really catered to our tastes just so we can join in on that discourse. We engage with content that actively makes us feel angry or frustrated, and then we wonder why we feel so drained. Everyone just feels so drained right now. I especially feel that. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be this way. So let's talk about the algorithm for a second. Yes, it's designed to keep you hooked. Yes, it's designed to push controversial or polarizing content because that's what gets the most engagement. Those rage bait things are getting crazy. But here's a little secret from you. Come in a little closer. Come in a little closer. You still have control. If you see a video, a post, or just a piece of content that you don't like, here's a real novel concept for you. Just don't fucking engage with it. Don't click on it. Don't leave a comment. Don't share it or rant about how much you hate it, because every single time you do, you're telling your algorithm, hey, guess what? I love this stuff. Give me more. And before you know it, your feed is filled with stuff that makes you miserable. It's like going down to a buffet and only eating the food that you hate. Why would you do that to yourself? And here's the good news, though. It's incredibly easy to tailor your online experiences to things you actually enjoy. Most platforms have tools to help you just do this. You can meet your keywords, block accounts you don't even like, or, really novel concept here, going back at it again, scroll past the stuff you don't like. Just go past it. You don't even have to look at it anymore. And if you're worried about missing out on the big discourse, ask yourself this. Why is that really worth it to you? Is it worth sacrificing your own mental health and your time just so you can have an opinion on something you don't even care about? There's a little spoiler alert for you. It's not. So imagine this for a second. Instead of forcing yourself to engage with content you hate, you could spend that time exploring things that you genuinely love and have passion for. You can dive deeper into your favorite niche, discover new creators who align with your interests, or even, here's, again, novel concept, just take a break from it. Because here's the truth. Your life is way too damn short to waste it on things that don't bring you joy. And the internet is full of vast amounts of negativity that is stuck in just a recursive loop over and over and over again. So the next time you find yourself about to click on something that you know you'll really hate, just ask yourself, why? Why am I doing this? And really, is it worth it in the end? Again, spoiler alert, it's not. But at the end of the day, the internet is what you make of it. You have the power to curate your experience, to surround yourself with content that inspires you, challenges you in a good way, and even brings you joy. So probably, best idea here, stop consuming the content you hate. Stop feeding the algorithm with your anger and frustration. And start building an online experience that actually reflects who you are and what you love. Because at the end of the day, and I'm looking right at you, dear viewer, you deserve better. And honestly, the rest of the internet does too. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, but what about staying informed? What about being aware of what's going on in the world? Isn't it really important to engage with things I don't like sometimes just so I'm aware? You're absolutely right. But I think there's a difference between mindlessly consuming content you hate and engaging with challenging or uncomfortable ideas that push you to grow. The key is that intentionality. If you're watching a documentary or a topic that you don't fully understand or reading an article that challenges your worldview, that's not really the same as hate watching a TV show just so you can rant about it on Twitter later. One of them is about growth, and the other is just about feeling through that cycle of negativity. So, how is there really a way to tell the difference? Well, again, ask yourself, why am I engaging with this? Is it because I want to learn or grow to understand better what's going on? Or is it because I want to feel angry and superior over everyone else, or just validate my own dissident? If it's the latter, I really do think it's a time to take a step back. Here's the thing. When you stop consuming content you hate, you're not just freeing up your time and mental energy. You're also sending a message to those creators, platforms, and the algorithm itself. You can actually make a change in this. Think about it. If everyone stopped hate watching, hate reading, and hate scrolling, genuinely, what would happen? I think creators would have to focus on making content that genuinely resonates with their audience, rather than making stuff that just cuts deep. Platforms would have to start to rethink their reliance on outrage and controversy, and I think the entire internet as a whole would become a little less toxic overall. But that process starts with you. It starts with the choices you make every time you open your phone or your computer. It starts with asking yourself, does this add actual value to my life? And here's another thought. When you stop filling your time with content you hate, you create a space for things that you truly love. Maybe it's a hobby that you've been neglecting. Maybe it's a book you've been meaning to read for a long time. But maybe it's just silence. Time to reflect, time to think, time to be present in your life. But let's be real here. The internet is a loud echo chamber. It's chaotic. It's designed to keep you scrolling, keep you clicking, and keep you consuming that content. Hey man, I wouldn't have a channel if it wasn't about consuming content. But you don't have to play along. You can choose to step back, curate that experience, and focus on what really matters to you. Imagine what your life could look like if you stopped wasting your time on content you hate. Imagine all of the books you could read. Imagine all the skills you can learn, the connections you could be making with other people. Imagine how more fulfilling your life online and offline could be. It's all not about avoiding all negativity or discomfort. It's about being intentional with your time and energy. It's about choosing to engage with the world in a way that aligns with your values and your goals. And yeah, I know it's not always going to be easy. The internet, again, is designed to keep you hooked in. But you're stronger than that. I know that. You're stronger than that algorithm. You have power to take back exactly what you consume, what you engage with, what you let into your life. So I'm going to propose a challenge for you. For the next week, pay attention to how you engage with your content. Notice when you're about to click on something you know that you'll just hate, and ask yourself, why? Is this just adding value to my life? Is it helping me grow? Or am I just feeding into the cycle of negativity? And if it is the latter, just step back and take a deep breath. Close your tabs, close out the app, and do something that brings something good to you instead. Read that book, watch that movie, maybe, message a friend. Or just sit there with your thoughts for a minute. Sit in that silence. I know it can be scary sometimes, but I think that's probably one of the best things to do. Because at the end of the day, the internet is just a tool. And like any tool that you use, it's up to you to decide how you're going to use it. So use it as wisely as possible. Use it for intentionality. And more importantly, use it in a way that makes your life feel better, not worse. Thank you guys so much for watching. Getting your daily dose of vitamin P. If you guys like these style of videos, I don't think I'm going to do them very often, but this is something that's been really sitting with me for the last, I think, about a couple of months, maybe even a year, trying to figure out through how I wanted to talk about this. I think topics like this are really important because a lot of people are dealing with something similar and really need help finding a way out. And if you can take up on that challenge, I'd really appreciate it. That's all the time I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, getting your daily dose of vitamin P. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out and take care.
I'm sorry, but if you're consistently consuming media that you don't like in the year
2025,
that's a skill issue.